Society Matters.
Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Carin, along with my co-host, Sami. And we're going to do a continuation of the last podcast. We were talking a little bit about just things to be paying attention to in terms of relevance today with what we saw happen in the past. A very good lesson in history, a lot of things that I am embarrassed to say that I just don't know. And I'm going to continue to read and learn more about. There's just one thing that I wanted to share because you talked about, and I know that I've asked you in the past because I do get worried, could you see something like this happening again? I recently was watching a show on PBS about people who were the resistance during the camps that buried their stories in capsules that they're digging out and they're sharing about things that happened. And one of the biggest messages when you go and you have these speaking engagements, you're so focused on being positive and on educating people. How do we just keep spreading those messages while not losing, obviously, the message of the Holocaust, but how we don't use that as our focus, but how we propel the message of kindness, coming together, like your messages in schools?
The reason that I do it because it's not in my interest, to make people feel sorry, empathy for everything else. It's something that happened. It's part of my life, but move forward. As a matter of fact, as you know, I am not what happened to me. That does not identify me. The fact that I cannot speak with my grandchildren does not identify me. The fact that I live under the poverty line, I was homeless, does not identify me. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to be. And my choice is to be happy and to leave a legacy for the young people to know how to make it a better world. Okay, I am convinced that they will do it. All the changes in the world have been accomplished by young people, but they have to learn.
I'm going to try and have your positive attitude, Sami. I will. It's going to take a lot of effort, but I am willing to try. No, you know what? I'm going to do it. Just do it, right?
Now I like it. I love it. I have never been a teacher, but I am an educator. And there is a difference between the two of them. A teacher, it's a profession. It's something that you do. To become an educator, you have to reach a higher level. And that is a mission. It's not anymore just to instruct. It's a mission. So I am an educator. And speaking a lot in schools, campuses, I have seen there is a lot of apathy and young people know very little what happened in the past. And from my perspective, from my experience, there is no education in this country. There is indoctrination. Now, besides being an educator, you are also a teacher. Okay? What is your experiences from all the years? Okay, and what changes have you seen from when you started to today regarding the education system in this country? You are part of the
No,
DOE.
you're right. I mean, I wouldn't connect myself with anybody. But yes, I have worked for some school districts and for, over 25 years. The thing that I started questioning, and it wasn't even something that I noticed as a teacher or an educator, but I noticed it as a parent, was when my children started coming home with different types of assignments and different types of short texts and passages. And I kept trying to understand what the ultimate goal was in what some of the content that was being presented was for. So,
can you give specific examples?
my child comes home with homework. There's a book. And inside the book, there are a lot of stories, different stories about children, about animals, about inventors, all kinds of things, all different genres, fiction, nonfiction, mystery. The story is about a little girl who comes from the Middle East. Okay, I like it. It's a nice story. You see some of her struggles. You see how she overcomes. I love the messaging. I think it's great. Because it's a learning platform that's online, you can go and you can explore other areas of this website. And on the website, there are options to click to learn a little bit more about Afghanistan, the country that she came from, the Taliban, the terror group that is bullying everybody there. And I just started to kind of notice that whenever my son would come home or my daughter with different types of homework, that it always seemed to kind of be connected to some other bigger, more complex, more global type issue that I'm not sure children, number one, are able to even understand or comprehend. And how does it impact the learning? Is it helping them become stronger readers? Is it helping them become better critical thinkers? How is this helping them ultimately when there are so many topics we can choose to teach? Another example, I was in a third grade classroom. I don't teach third grade. But the same reader, so we have a curriculum guide, and every grade has a bunch of readers. This was a third grade class. The unit was on inventors, okay? 6 inventions, very nice. 5 of them were given credit for the inventions, and the cell phone, there was no person who invented it. It happened to be a Jewish guy named Martin Cooper. And so my question, and again, am I being a Michiganer? Am I noticing things more? Is there a reason that all other 5 inventions are given recognition for who made them, with the exception of the cell phone? I don't know. To me, that seems a little bit like that I would question. I mean, I have a lot of different examples that I'm happy to share, but I don't know if other people would think that these are examples that are, strong enough to make a case. But when I look at the way our whole system has changed and the priority becomes global issues as opposed to what's happening here in our communities that really impact us, I start to wonder what the bigger goal is.
Well, from my experience, it was always, global. It was never been local. They had, different things that they study. But when you study geography, you study history or whatever it is, it's usually global. What happened, dates, numbers, leaders, and everything else. But what I am trying to say is, when did you notice, if you noticed, that there is no education in this system, and there is indoctrination?
I'm going to say probably like 7 years ago, maybe around 2018, 19. There was a new initiative that was brought.
What was it called? What name did they give it to?
What was it called? Culturally Responsive Sustaining Education. Culturally Responsive Sustaining Education. It was called CRSE.
Okay.
And now I'm going to talk to you as a parent, not a teacher,
now,
or an educator.
Wait a minute. Did you find it? Did you find it discriminatory or not?
Let me tell you about it. Oh, I'm excited to share this story. Haven't shared this.
Because I know about it. I spoke against it.
Well, maybe you don't know my story. I don't think I ever told you this. No. Okay, so this is a goodie. So I always participated in a lot of these parent groups, the PTAs, the school leadership team, because I want to stay involved. And this was a new initiative by New York City Public Schools. And as a parent, I sit in. They're asking us to do an activity. And what is the activity? They give me, with a group of people, that I should write the definition of white privilege.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I never heard of white privilege before that day, this word. Okay. And after the meeting, and I didn't talk much, just so you know, which is unusual, but I didn't talk much. I wanted to learn. After the meeting, I asked the principal if they could explain to me where this is coming from and how this is helping us become a community that connects instead of a community that is divided. Because when you ask questions like that, it seems you have one objective, and that's to create division. That type of mentality, I think, has trickled throughout. And when you look at the way that questions are being framed, depending on your delivery, you can always make something good or bad, right?
Yes.
I mean, a good salesperson can sell whatever, ice to a Eskimo or whatever they say. When you're given a question and you have to say why someone is a villain, as opposed to looking at it from two perspectives, the children today celebrate Osama bin Laden. They think that he's a martyr and he's justified in what he did. But I think that if you talk to some other people...
What did he do?
Osama bin Laden?
Yes.
I think he had a little bit to do with what happened on 9/11. Just a little. I don't know. And
is that your opinion, or is that...
from what I read and from what I've seen, and from what I've been told, and from the celebration and the victory under one of the presidential administrations where he was captured and then, extinguished, it seemed like it was a victory when they got him because he had done something really bad to the United States. And in the 25 years since that happened, that whole generation has been poisoned or indoctrinated into believing that someone like him is a hero. And when you change the mindset and you make him the victim, and ay nebach, what happened to him, and you get enough people to believe that, you start a movement. And it's a little movement-y like right now. It's very scary. Kids are screaming things. They don't even know what they're screaming. They don't even know what half the things mean that they scream. And they're screaming them.
Okay.
I don't know if that answered your question or not, but...
No, not really. Okay.
I have seen a change, and it concerns me.
The reason that I'm saying is, can you define indoctrination?
Can I define indoctrination?
Because I can give you an example of what I mean by indoctrination.
I don't know that I can define indoctrination as much as I can tell you that when I watch the way children behave, and I have watched and observed, I should say, over the last, 25 years, people want to be accepted. People want to be part of a group. People want to feel important. A lot of people don't even realize what the cause is that they're jumping into because they have nothing that they believe in themselves or stand firm on. And so it's easy to become a follower. And because some of the teachers or some of the people, the adults in their lives, I remember being young and very impressionable, and my teachers were like the hero to me. If you have a hero that's wearing a keffiyeh and standing in front of you in class, you might start to wonder, well, maybe I should think the way they think. Maybe that's right. I don't know. I mean, it's happening. Teachers are wearing keffiyehs all over.
Okay. My definition of or
indoctrination
of indoctrination is a very good friend of mine. He took me to Washington Square Park.
Okay.
To meet with the Gen Z, Holocaust deniers, and people from, Arab countries to ask about what's happening in the Middle East. He approached a Pakistani woman in the 30s. She was very polite, very nice, not screaming, nothing. But he asked her what's happening in the Middle East, how she feels, and she said genocide. no matter in which direction he went, genocide, and obviously blamed IDF. Okay. Israel, IDF, criminals. He turned towards me and he said, I brought here a Holocaust survivor and somebody that served in the IDF. And remember,
She must have loved you.
remember, I came to the United States in 1968. Okay? Mm-hmm. I served in the Israeli Air Force. She looked at me and she said, you are part of the problem. But this is because...
Can't you tell?
But
Can't you tell? You're part of the problem.
so I want the young people to become part of the success, okay? Not part of the problem, part of the solution. But the interesting part of it is our enemies are using one word. Everybody says it over and over and over and over. That's what Hitler in his party did, the Nazi party. And that resonates after a while. You hear it, maybe you're upset, maybe whatever it is, but you hear it so often that it becomes part of your life. We as Jews are not reacting appropriately, and we do not have one word to counteract that genocide.
Let's make one.
IDF is the most moral army in the world. Okay, if they want to commit genocide, they can flatten Gaza in 2 days.
I know.
However, they sent leaflets. They open corridors for
I know.
them to leave before they tell them when they are going to attack and everything else.
Because this is not about Israel. It's about Jew hatred.
Right. But that's what I'm trying to say is we are not united. We do not speak with one voice. We have so many parties that fight anti-Semitism. If I will ask you, what does one particular organization stand for? You will not be able to tell me.
Garnished. That's what I would tell you.
Okay. They stand for something, but you will not be able to identify for the whole world to listen. So we have to use something that was used economically called KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Okay.
Okay?
One word.
One word, and everybody, not only one organization, everybody should use it over and over and over. And I'll give an example.
Maybe it should be a slogan or a phrase, because one word might be too hard. Unless you know what the word is and you're just
I don't want
holding.
it to be too long. It has to be something very short.
Well, listen, Nike, just do it. That's 3 words. No fear.
well,
That's 2
something like- but
words, right?
something
So
like
we
that,
can
very
have
small
a little
words,
slogan. All right,
Yes.
we can think of that. Okay.
Okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to say is that we are not united. And this is a very big issue for the Jewish people. I don't think if we can do it, but regardless, whatever we do, we have to bring the media with us. And the media is not there. They make money out of controversy.
Yeah.
So whatever good you're going to say, they're going to try to make the controversy. That's how they make the money. And as you know, I had an event in Brooklyn. The media was involved.
Mm-hmm.
And the decision of not allowing me to speak at that particular school, MS 447, was reversed. But the media was involved. And I tell young people that they should follow, and the Jewish people, Martin Luther King Jr. He marched nationwide. He brought other ethnic groups. As a matter of fact, the Jews were the first group of people that marched with him. He was able to say whatever he wanted, even controversial things. But he did it in a nonviolent way. He brought the media with him. And because of him, many groundbreaking legislations have been established. So this is one of the things that people try to do, and to hear their own voice instead to speak to the public.
So let me ask you this. I know we only have about 5 minutes left, but you talk a lot about legislation. So there are laws that are meant to protect us, all people. It seems like people that are making some of these policies and some of these laws today are not really in favor of trying to bring people together, but rather divide. And it's scary to think that they are putting things in place. I mean, I'm not sure if you talked a little bit about BDS and the movement earlier. The largest teachers union in the country brought to a vote last month at their meeting a resolution around BDS that they want to bring to a vote. And 58% of the membership agreed to bring it to a vote at the next meeting. And if you see the language in the resolution, it's quite bothersome because the language actually minimizes and does not condemn anything that Hamas did. So back to that point about Osama bin Laden. When you have a group of people, young minds, that are influenced by these things that they see that are very radical, and then they are in the classroom forward-facing with students that are now going to become the next generation, I don't know. Like, I'm going to say that as an educator, I never bring politics into the classroom because that's not my job. I'm not a high school politics teacher. I'm an elementary school teacher. I'm not going to talk about subjects at all that are not relevant. But I can only imagine in some of these schools where all these things are happening, the kinds of conversations that are happening in classrooms that keep happening. There's almost no way to kind of like bring light to that. I mean, it's quite scary.
Well, there are two things that I'm unhappy what's happening in this country.
Okay.
People have forgotten how to disagree in a civil way. And our leaders do not teach young people to take responsibility for their own actions.
Yeah, and there's no consequences. So
there are no consequences. And that you do not blame the people that follow.
Right, but the lawmakers are making these policies.
You have to blame the people that are in charge and the power.
So then how do we not look like crazy people when we go to these elected officials and demand changes?
Because we are not united, because we don't speak with one voice. Nobody hears us.
All right, so you hear us, all of you people, we need to get united here. We need to start working together.
Unite. The Jewish people are not going to unite.
What do we need to do to unite them? Do we need to bring food?
I have no idea.
What shall we bring?
Okay, my generation has a victim mentality.
And what does my generation have? What do you think?
You are in the middle.
Okay.
You don't know enough.
Okay,
to make the right changes.
Okay.
The young people have to be educated. All the changes have been accomplished by young people.
I know.
And they, are going to make the changes. But they cannot make any change if they don't know history and if they are not united and bring the media.
So you know what? Maybe what we can do is we can try to reach out to some of our local elected officials and maybe try to ensure that the education that's being taught is accurate and that there are safeguards in place to ensure.
There is no standard curriculum.
Then we need to maybe figure out.
It's 31 years since Holocaust curriculum was mandated. It's not in force.
Oh, but they secure so much money. I keep getting postcards of all this money that all these elected officials secure.
One of the things that was one of my goals is to be invited to speak at the state senate.
All right,
it's a
I got
state
you.
issue, not a city issue.
I got you. You hear that, state senate? New York State Senate.
People.
We're going to be reaching out to you.
I met senators. They promised. They bring me.
Yeah.
There has to be somebody like me, if not me, that has a strong voice and can tell them. Will it happen right away? No. But at least they have to hear it. And I do not want a legislation. Not interested. If somebody does not fulfill the mandate, do not give them the money. That's the only way to do it.
No mandate, no money. Thank you for tuning in to our series. It's all about the children. Thank you so much, Sami, and for all the engineers at the the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center, I have to tell you, of Nassau County. Thank you so much. Please be sure to subscribe, share, and stay connected for more engaging conversations.